Alright YouTube land, this is maybe my second video or possibly my third video on melting HDPE plastic. This is not something I'm going to spend a lot of time at. I'm already getting, not bored of it, but wanting to move on to other things, yeah. But I've got a few examples to show you and maybe have some conclusions and maybe some suggestions on where you would want to go with this if you want to carry on with it. So without further ado, this here is my first sample. I simply cut up some milk jugs, or it wasn't even a full milk jug, it was like half a milk jug or something, yeah. Put it into the bottom of a baked bean can, and then I tried compressing it with a F clamp and a block of wood, yeah. You can see that results were not very spectacular, rather poor in fact. I had quite a lot of porosity in it, or poor adhesion between the plastic chips. The bit of wood or the clamp wouldn't centre correctly on the tin, and it compressed at an angle. Okay, now I'm not too worried about that. If it had been a larger bit of plastic, I could just turn that angled area down so that it was running parallel to the body. Yeah, so that was my first example, first attempt, and not very good. Okay, so I moved on and I tried it again a couple of days later. You know, I thought I need more heat in it, yeah, higher temperature or the same temperature for longer, and I managed to produce this. Bloody hell. So it's quite a solid bit, as you can hear. However, there is still porosity. You know, you've got these air pockets. Now, what I did in this case was same as before, okay, same as the previous example here. I'd heat up some plastic chips and I'd compress it, but this time I used a homemade press that I had built for another project, and I'd press it down, and you fill a baked bean tin up, for instance, to the neck, right to the top. When you heat it, it shrinks. The plastic shrinks down into the tin, and then you can push it down with the end of a stick or something like that. And a full tin quite quickly becomes less than half a tin. And then when you actually press it, it shrinks down even further. So you end up with just a full tin becomes something like that, yeah. So then you've got to fill it up again, continue heating it for another maybe quarter of an hour, and press it down again. You get another inch maybe, and you repeat that process for an hour. It took me about an hour to make this, yeah. And you can see that there's better adhesion. You know, that's quite a nice smooth face there. That's come out relatively well. Other parts of the wall are reasonable, but you do have these air pockets, which makes me think that there is lack of a bonding between some of the plastic. You can see here that there's certainly ridges there. That's maybe just shrinkage, but here you have this nasty bloody crack. So when you go to turn this would just tear apart probably. This one here is particularly bad. I don't know if you can see in there. You know, there is a evidence of it bonding, but there's you know, any part that you're going to turn down, you want a smooth surface finish, and these pockets are going to destroy that. Now, I'm only trying this because I found it interesting. I was surfing YouTube, and there's other lads doing this. Some of them are just playing, you know, there's kids at it, there's fathers at it, there's guys in their sheds trying to produce blocks of HDPE for various purposes. Some of them are turning it out for creative projects where they mix the colours. Others are just wanting to get a bit of bar stock to turn down a bushing or a bearing, you know, things like that. And that's more what where my interest lies. Now, to give you an example of what I've been using, it's just basic milk jugs, which I've cut down into chips. Yeah, I didn't spend, well, I spent a bit of time at it, you know. What I generally do is I'll wash the milk jug out, I'll cut the milk jug up into sections first, and then it'll just lie overnight to dry. And you know, it only takes a matter of a few minutes to cut it up into sections. The following day, when I feel like it, I'll cut the sections into strips, and that's enough for one go at it. And then maybe later in the day or that evening, I'll cut it into these sort of chips. Now, when you go to fill up your baked bean can or whatever your mould is going to be, you can see here, well, this is my thought, right? These chips are maybe a bit on the large side. You know, there's a variety of different sizes. I don't spend any time or take any care over the size of chips. And you will be getting areas in this where there's quite a lot of airspace, yeah? So my idea is, just this might be my last attempt at this, because if this is the best that I'm going to get, I'm not interested. Yeah? I've been doing a little bit of research, and I think in industrial manufacturing processes where they are producing HDPE, they're using hydraulic rams at hundreds or thousands of pounds of pressure, and they're using cores which are heated, where the pellets are fed through this core and then pressed out through a die to form the bar stock or the sheet stock of the HDPE. That's just my initial impressions. I haven't done a whole lot of research on it. You know, you can see here this bit got through my radar. If that was sitting kind of upright, that could make quite a horrible large void in the plastic. So I'm certainly not going to go to the extent of making any sort of equipment to do this. I don't have the time, I don't have the materials, and I don't have the interest, frankly. I've got other things I'd like to be getting on with. But just as a proof of concept, what I've decided to do is I'll take one milk bottle, and you know, you can, from these chips, you can basically get an impression of the width of the strips I was cutting. Okay, there may be a centimetre to a half an inch in width. But what I've done in this case now is I've decided to go a lot thinner. Now obviously that's a lot more time and, you know, a bit more effort. Now, this stuff cuts with scissors readily, but I don't want to spend my time cutting up plastic. Yeah, that's just it's moronic, you know. I don't know even why I'm bothering doing this right now. Now there's a strip that needs to be cut down further. That would have been an example of an average strip width prior to this third trial. So I'm cutting it down right thin, and this is the sort of result. A much finer chip size. And actually much closer to the size of pellets they use in industrial processes, although they're obviously thinner, you know. So the intention is I will finish 20 turning these strips into flakes, and with this small amount, I'll test that in the bottom of a tin and melt it down, and then press it to see what the quality of the pressed component is going to be like. Now, long term, if I had an easy way of turning a milk jug into that, I'd maybe explore this further as a way to produce plastic stock for turning down on the lathe. You know, it will be handy to have the ability to produce plastic, because this stuff is actually quite dear if you buy it online. You may be looking at anywhere from £6 to £10 for a length about 100mm, which is about that. Now that will, you know, depends on the diameter you're going for as well, of course, but this is roughly about 70mm diameter. So 70mm by 100mm quite often comes out at about £12 or £13. Now you don't always need big bits of plastic like this. You know, sometimes maybe an inch or an inch and a half is sufficient. But you've got to have a bit of wastage for holding it in the chuck. Although, you know, you could do it between centres, of course, but you know, there's more issues with that as well, of course. So, you know, I'm not going to need plastic very often, but so I could just bite the bullet and buy a bit, you know. But then they add insult to injury by adding 10 or you know, £6.95 postage, or £10 postage, or even £12 postage. So quite quickly your little bit of bloody plastic, you know, which is, you know, that size roughly, turns into a 20 quid bill. I'm not paying 20 quid for a bit of fucking plastic, am I? You know, fuck that. So I guess I'm just cheap, you know, simple as that. This is why I'm doing it, just to see if I can save £1. Now, my overall view on it is, though, that your time would be, I'm not currently working, yeah, so it's all relative, but you'd be better employed going to work and making 20 quid and buying you a bit of plastic than you are investing the time in processing your milk jugs into chips, then trying to heat it up in an oven or whatever method you want to use, and then having all these defects, which I wouldn't say makes it unusable. One of the, you know, I've had two sort of things that I've thought about using this for, yeah. One is making a plastic mallet out of it. You know, that would be a good option. You could make a plastic mallet. The other thing I'd like to make is some soft jaws for a vise. I'd need to either cut this down or get some sort of mould where I can, like a tin, you know, like mackerel fillets tin. You know, I could make a sort of more rectangular shape, but those tins are too small. I need to make something bigger, you know. So so it's a lot of pricking about, you know. That's basically what it is. It's a lot of fucking about, time wasting crap, you know. If I had an easy way to shred this plastic, that would help a lot. Now, I've already tried the side of a milk jug through a paper shredder, and it's not quite powerful enough to actually shred the plastic. It leaves indentations all through it, and there is little cuts in it, but it doesn't turn it into chips, and that's what I'm looking for. So for the moment, I'm only using a pair of scissors, and that's not satisfactory at all. It's a lot of unnecessary. I don't mind work, but you know, it's boring. It really is boring. So plus you've got the added worry. I wouldn't say it's a worry, but there is the added concern, or you've got to be certainly aware of that if you overheat this plastic, it can release fumes which have which are toxic, I believe. So you've got to make sure that your heating process is controlled and you don't overheat the plastic. So it's a fine balance, really. Here you can see the plastic's relatively clean. There's maybe one or two little smudges on it, but that could be just down to dyes coming out of the wood or on the wall of the tin. This one, however, there's more of a marbling effect. You can see all the sort of brown smudges in the plastic, and that is basically where the plastic has started to singe and maybe burn slightly. And when it gets to this sort of point, it's actually releasing toxic fumes. So make sure you're doing it in a ventilated area, folks. I had the windows open and the extract fan on, and I could still smell it. It was not very nice. So it's not something I'm really keen on. What's the word I'm looking for? Progressing with, I guess. You know, if that's going to be the situation. But I'll finish off this little puckle here and melt it down, try compressing it and see what my results are, and I'll give you a follow-up video on this at some point. I've got better things to do than this crap, that's for sure, so it might be a bit of time before I post anything regarding this, but I think that's all for now, and until next time, stay safe, enjoy making stuff, and like me to, if you've got anything on YouTube yourself that you're proud of or you think is interesting, maybe put a link in the comments and I'll certainly check it out. So yeah, that's all. Bye for now.